Mary's organising a hike for us today, and for English Harbour and then up on this hill around the back. Part of English Harbour is Nelsons Dockyard, where the super yachts all moor up. And we've been crossing paths with Nelson, Vice Admiral Nelson, along our cruising journey. We saw HMS Victory in Portsmouth and the actual place where he died. We passed Cape St Vincent, site of the famous sea battle where Nelson became a national hero, leading the boarding of Spanish warship San Josef. And here in the Caribbean, Nelson's early career played out. He got married on Nevis, his bride given away by his friend and soon-to-be King William IV. The fortifications, old fortifications built in to the rocks. Mary standing in a gun port, and a bit of the fort's gone over the cliff here, but good area to defend the harbour from.
A little bit of money in here, not a lot, and in the corner we actually have an oyster. In fact, there's lots of oysters around today, a couple of old ones and some modern ones.
The buildings here on the edge of the fort. Interesting to see there's no graffiti on any of these buildings. I don't know whether they just keep them clean, but I suspect people don't put graffiti on things in Antigua. Nelson led a squadron in 1784 which was based from Antigua, and it was there to prevent piracy and smuggling. He was not popular, however, as it was the local landowners who benefited most from these activities. It's interesting to see the angles that were set up for these gun emplacements. You see on the right hand side here it goes at almost right angles to the direction, right angles to the wall, but on the other side it's quite an acute angle. That would have been to give them good angles on vessels coming in. It's a strange feeling that Nelson had walked these paths long ago in the 1700s and looked out from the entrance to English Harbour on a very different world, where slavery was common, the main industries from the island were naval warfare, and there was huge sugar production. Cast iron base for the gun, 1805, got on the pinion, and British crown. That's interesting, it's got a arrow on it, obviously point this way. And then with all these guns now, they've put a stop in the hole where the touch hole, so that it can't be fired again. The stone building blocks around here are quite interesting. These along this line are all kind of green shade. I think they're sandstone or something like that, but there are also dark brown, chocolate brown blocks, and then these very light ones, and all the blocks are very soft, so the wind and the waves and the salt has softened them, and the mortar, and so lots of the bricks are actually missing.
He's on the go slow today. Keep stopping and looking and videoing stuff.
There are two hilltops on middle ground along this ridge, and this is the two inner basins at English Harbour.
That actually is its flower coming out. I wonder how often they flower. Usually about once every 7 or 8 years. There's a few of them look as though they're coming into flower this year.
Look at how these roots can bust up the stonework. Amazing strength. Air plant forest. Air plants everywhere on all the trees. This is a strange piece of land. It's all covered in concrete, and presumably it's a catchment area for water tanks. I think that's what this is at the bottom here. So these are the pillars. I think they were docks at one time, and then something over the top of here, building over the top of it, and they lifted spars and sails off, I think. Very shallow now, but would have been deeper back in the day.
So we're in the Three Pillars restaurant for lunch. I have a frozen margarita, a couple of super yachts behind us.
The English Navy abandoned the harbour facilities in 1889, and it wasn't until 1920 that it was renamed Nelsons Dockyard and restoration began, with Princess Margaret and Winston Churchill's wife raising funds to help with the restoration. Harbours and bays where there's nice hotels. Montserrat in the distance. Come visit there sometime.
These are all big plants, avocado trees, breadfruit trees.
Oh, that's breadfruit.
So,
I recognize that one, yeah.
It was almonds, banana.
Local market as we go through St John's. Lots and lots of bananas.
Viv Richards Stadium, cricket central for the islands. Like other islands in the Caribbean, they were split into estates for purposes of sugar production. Some of the implements and family items found. So life went on the plantations. I guess they had to feed themselves and look after the horses and animals that were in the island. This was the layout of the plantation. So you've got the mills at the top there, you've got the rolling house with a cattle pen, areas where they boiled the sugar, and then water catchments, because they needed a lot of water to boil the sugar as well. It would have been a busy place back in the day. Some of the equipment and tools and things that would have been used. Some things hard to recognise nowadays, but they would have had specific uses. So the cane would have come from fields and have had narrow gauge railway lines to bring the cane, where they'd have boiled the sugar syrup and concentrated it. This is the rather crude machinery that crushed the cane and extracted the sugary syrup. Yeah, the windmills look pretty impressive from here. It would have been used to provide the mechanical power to turn the crushing rollers for the sugar cane. The back of the mechanical stuff on the windmill has a guiding wheel here, a big long timber, and you could turn the windmill in directly into the wind to get maximum power from your sails. The mechanism at the bottom of the windmill to bring the power shaft down from the top there, and cane would have been fed and in and out of that chute there. Quite a lot of heavy duty timber work. This has all been restored. The blades are not attached any longer, but all the workings are still inside.
If you look over right, that's the rehabilitation centre. It was built by Eric Clapton. All right.
So this is Shirley Heights overlooking English Harbour. We visited a visual presentation of the history of the islands. We're waiting in anticipation for what's going to happen. We've got a presentation, 360 degrees. Today must have been a changeover day for the super yachts, because we've got 4 clustered around us here and 2 have just left. We're heading for Green Island, and then we're going to do a circumnavigation of Antigua, dropping off in various places. Mary's concentrating hard, making sure we don't hit anything expensive here. Well, it's really too nice to move today, but we've made ourselves make a move. We're here for 3 weeks, so we will be returning here at some point. It's getting close to classic Antigua Sailing Week, so several of the competitors are out practicing in some gorgeous looking classic yachts. Those of you who are into super yachts, that's not actually a super yacht, but it's a tender for a super yacht. So that carries all the toys on it, the cars and the boats and the helicopters, submarines, you name it, they have everything on these. So the main super yacht doesn't get cluttered up. And here's a beautiful twin-masted vessel. She's a schooner because her aft mast is higher than the foremast. Mary checked out her name. She's called Gilla. The island of Antigua looks to be composed of more sedimentary rocks than volcanic. We saw green limestones, different coloured sandstones in the fortifications and on the hills, and you can see from here the strata. Nice little anchorage here, this Ricketts Harbour off Green Island, very sheltered, but as you can see by the green jaggy bits, that's all reefs. The entrance in here is a bit of a dog leg as well. The reef out to the right here, There's a big reef across here as well, which you've got to. And yeah, we took a photo of this wreck on the end here.
This is Green Bay. There's a boat full of people on the beach. There's a Brit on his boat and another cat. Otherwise it's quite quiet.
Fitting that goes through the hull, which is this bit, it's got a little hole in it, so you can tie the two together with a piece of wire. So this is the scary bit, when you have to undo this screw on here, and inside here is the transducer. When I open it, I've got to get that in as quick as I can, because otherwise water comes in. There is a flap inside that closes to stop lots of water coming in, but sometimes it's quite scary because you can actually see right down into the water through the hole. I've also got bungs here if I needed to stuff them in as well. So it's going to be a quick out and then in. So that's it undone. So you ready, Mary? Here we go. That's it. That's how you have to do it. And push that in, put the screw down, and here we have, joy oh joy, look at the state of that. That's why it's not going around very well. As you can see, there's things growing all over it. Okay, well, we'll give that a clean. Yeah. Okay, so we'll try and clean off these bits of growth. We're going to try something different this time. We've got some chili oil, which we're going to try and get in here. There's no anti-fouling on this because A, it would damage the plastic, I think, and B, it makes it a different size of prop, so basically changes the speed setting. So you've got to have this clean to give you the best speed settings. But it's all cleaned up now. Okay, so that's job done. All tightened back up and the wire's been put back on to hold the two bits together again. So hopefully now we have a speedo. Well, I've got the solar panels up and running again now. You see the yellow ones in the bottom corner. I've been blaming the lack of sunshine over the last few days for not getting very much power from them. It was a bit cloudy, but in actual fact it had tripped, so and I hadn't realised it. So this is the Victron assessment panel that gives you all the data that's going on, and this is for the port panel. And if I look back through the history of it, it's not been charging for about 10 days. So that's the last time it was on, which would be 10 days ago. You can see it normally produces 0.6 to 1.2 kilowatt hours, depending on whether we've got a lot of sun or not. So down here is the trip switch where my finger's waggling, and that's the thing that I tripped off. It's a better picture of it here. You can see it's just a little trip switch. Press the button and there's a yellow, it clicks up, and then you click it back down again. And I made some pull tabs for the Pelican fittings on the side gates. Today
we're at the reef, which is round the other side of Green Island. Came round on the dinghy. We could have walked, had we known.
It's a lovely place there. Everybody's in here for lunch. Very nice. And we're having some mocktail. I'm having a mocktail, I'll enjoy, and you're having a gin cocktail, yeah?
I am. I'm having a Bombay gin.
And this has quite a few stars, this restaurant, doesn't it?
I think it does, definitely.
Yeah.
Quite a few boats out there. It's going to be a lovely dinner. So I've got the gnocchi, which is pork, and Paul has got the special beef.
In a compass pattern, north, south, east, west. So today's quite a challenging passage. Not very long, but it's lots of reefs and things. We've come out of Ricketts Bay on Green Island, wend our way through these reefs here, and there's a narrow passage comes out here beside a reef, and we're out into open water then. Spithead Channel it's called, and then we're going northwest up the island, and we come to this point here, which is an entrance into it's called Bird Island Channel, and you can see the reefs to the right, solid land to the left, a narrow channel, quite windy, little gaps between them. So, and then we've got a choice. Then we were going to go down to harbour further south, but I think either Davis Bay or this Loblolly Bay would be the place to go around Long Island. So we'll see how it goes today.
Oh my goodness, I can see the bottom. It's only about 17 feet here. 15 feet even.
This is called Spithead Channel, the only exit to open water near here. The suggested lead line shown on the chart goes right over a reef, so we took a more easterly course but still got down to only 3 feet under the keel. Scary. So beware, not all electronic charts are correct or up to date. User beware. So after a change of underpants, we relaxed in this nice bay. What are you doing today?
Watching rugby! Yay!
Good old Starlink. Couldn't get us to watch Scotland, Italy.
And then England too over there playing.
England and whatever. Leading at the moment, 17-10. What's the skipper got to say today?
We're going round to somewhere near Jolly Bay, or Mosquito Bay, as Alec would tell you.
I'll be the only one that gets nipped.
Yeah.
So because we're in fairly shallow water, we just keep a little bit of an extra watch. We have somebody looking out for little reefs and things. Going through this gap between an island and the mainland, and I think it gets down to about 12 feet of water, so we'll just have to slow down and take it steady. We've gone for the best course we can on our sonar charts. So we're heading for Prickly Pear Channel, a bit shallow in here. Just coming into the shallowest bit. Lots of resorts on the coast down here. Through the shallowest patch of this channel. Again a bit now. We're through and clear.
It's actually quite a nice sunset tonight. Otherwise it's a lovely sunset.
The Antiguan flag flaps happily, and we're just off Jolly Harbour. It's quite a popular marina and bay area. So we spotted this oyster similar to ours, 485 this one, and it actually has a YouTube channel. So hi to Kevin and Wendy, we've watched their channel a few times.
As long as it doesn't come adrift.
Well, this is water transportation on the island. This vehicle actually had a broken back. The chassis was completely snapped in half. It was waving about as we followed him. I don't know whether he made it to drop off his water. There are lots of stories between yachties of robberies on the Caribbean islands. Some have more than others. Our experiences have been, we felt safe but cautious. We've always locked our dinghy on a night, or when we've been ashore, avoided the shady areas of the towns, and not been out late at night. So far, so good. So the numbers are Antigua is 64 per 100,000. In the US it's 66 per 100,000 robberies, and in the UK it's only 1.28. So more crime than in the UK, but about the same as the US.
So we're coming into English Harbour. Definitely all the money is. Another one coming out for race practice. Very nice one. So I wonder if there's a race on today. The one looks as though KA6 might be coming out, going off as well. You've got Nelson Dock in there. They're going around this corner, going in next to Jerimondo.
Quite a tricky job manoeuvring these 100-foot plus classic yachts. He's having to turn up into the wind. He's got his tender out to help him, and he's got a moor stern on. So not an easy manoeuvring in a small harbour like this.
I definitely think that's an oyster. Zigzag. Might be the one I looked up the other night. It's the zigzag. He won his race at this class in 2018.
We did a check on our buddy boat Geramondo while they were back in the UK. All was good apart from the herb garden. So we're in the shipyard here with some Ocean 60s. This is a classic boat mast. You can see it's actually hollow, made from all sorts of different sections, and I think it's off this boat here that was pulled out for bottom scrub and some anti-foul. Headed up to Shirley Heights just for the view and the entertainment. Bit of unusual activity today. They've got a diver down with a flotation bag. They're either lifting an anchor or something that's sunk there. There are several gentlemen's motor yachts, I suppose you'd call them, here, with crews polishing the bright work and varnish brushes at the ready, and I think this one's about to leave the harbour. Berthed alongside us we have 3 ocean racing boats. I think they will be on the last Atlantic race, the Rourke, or one of those races. But beautiful, 60 feet I think. It's interesting to look on deck. He has a huge bowsprit. We basically have none. We have drum reefed headsails. That's what that black drum does. They have to hank or slide their sails up foils, and mostly the only drum reefed sails they would have would be Jennikers and code sails. They're for downwind sailing or reaching. They have these huge dagger boards that increase lateral stability and resistance, rather like having an extra keel. They also have a canting keel that can be swung from side to side up to the windward side, again to increase resistance to sail pressure. Their spars are all carbon fibre. Ours are aluminium, and the hull will certainly have carbon fibre parts to stiffen the key areas. They have big blow-up fenders. We have our Mr. Blobby white fenders, and they look awfully small compared with theirs. We thought they were huge. Looking in the cockpit, these grey looking minion shapes are winch grinders, powered by hand and muscle for handling sails, while we have our electrical drum winches. When they get a wave over the bow, it's straight over the crew, while we have quite a lot of crew protection. Basically we're built for comfort, while they're built for speed. And yeah, boy, are they fast. Meanwhile, on the gentleman's yacht, they're cleaning the chain as it comes ashore. That's where the water is coming out the side, and polishing the sides of the hull so that they can head off out to sea. The yard here is a bit more like a dockyard should be. It's not a marina by any means. So lots of boats are out of the water. Another big sailor racer going out. Crew possibly professionals, getting the decks cleared, fenders stored ashore, and ready to haul anchor and away. Looking a bit stormy today, but the racers are all out practicing in all sorts of boats, from super fast modern yachts to beautiful wooden classic boats. Wherever you look here, there are beautiful yachts. So the girls have been drinking rum, and now they get a spin on the wheel.
Yeah, so basically these are the types. This is the tumbler that we have here. Yeah. This is the shirt, the mini. We have our lanyard, and we also have a key ring. This is our key ring.
We're going this way or this way?
Yes, anyway.
You want the orange one, not the red one.
Two prizes.
You get a free tumbler. So this is our actual tumbler. It's a branded tumbler, actually.
Okay, that'll do me good on the boat.
Yes, okay. So we can take it. You want to have it to pictures?
Well done.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let me give you one in the box.
The tumbler was secured, and then following a bit more rum drinking, Mary won a bottle of rum.
Mine's bigger than hers.
Oh, you lucky thing. So we're watching the rugby today, 3 matches. That was Italy-Wales. Wales lost, wooden spoon. So we're off on passage today to Tortola, and on passage we took some photos of each other, some video. So this is Giramondo sailing past us. And you don't often get to take pictures of your own boat, so it's good when a body boat does the same for you.
Coming up. There.
Oh,
Really green.
I saw it. So as it
Really,
goes,
it's
literally down, you
literally-
get the little...
So right over in the distance, we've actually got a hotel that's collapsed into the water. There's Blue Pearl down the bottom there. It's a really long spit that goes all the way along here.
Well, today's little task for the boat jobs is to sort out the AC's not been working. So I've been having an investigation. The unit works from 2 separate AC units, so we've got one in the saloon and one in the master suite at the back. Both of them are not kicking on the water pump which is under the floor here, so that looks like that's the problem. The pump, I couldn't turn the motor, so I'll need to take the pump out, take it apart, have a look at the pump, see if there's anything stuck in it or needs lubing or something like that. Quite an awkward thing to get at because it's under the floor. Not really an easy place to actually kneel on and get to. So you've got to switch off the 240 volt supplies, obviously. There's a switchboard for that. So I've cut that out. I've taken off the pipe that comes from the seacock, so that's that one. Check the seacock, there's nothing blocked in there. Did that last week. And then what happens is it comes in this end, goes through a pump and then splits into one here and another pipe here, which I've taken one of those off. They go to the chiller units, which are, one is under the seat in the saloon and the other one is under a box beside the port side of the bed in the master suite in the aft. So they supply cold water from the sea, which goes through a heat exchanger and basically cools the air and then blows the cold air out. You take one of these hoses off. You can usually get the clamps off relatively easy. These are stainless. But then you've got the problem of getting the hose off. So hose clamps are off, and sometimes you can get like a pry bar or something in to sort of ease the hose off. It sits on, you can see it on this one here, it sits on what's called a barb, a hose barb, and it's got like little teeth that hold the hose from coming off, which is good in terms of stopping it leak. It's not so good when you want to remove it. So the way I tend to do it, if I can't shift it and I can't twist it, you need to break the lock somehow. So it's to get a screwdriver under here or some flat object and just break the seal between it and the hose lock. And if you do that carefully without puncturing it, you can usually get enough flex in the pipe to get it to turn to come off. We've got the pump out on the table, a little bit of rust but nothing too serious. This is the pump end, take that apart. Appear to be any problems with water flow into and out of it. It just looks like the pump doesn't want to turn. A little screwdriver in here and the fan blade's not wanting to turn, so I suspect one of the bearings has got a bit rusty and seized up. I think we'll take the face off first and see if there's anything jamming the pump. Last screw coming out. What delights do we have inside the pump then? Let's have a little look. It's a magnetic drive, this pump. There don't seem to be any problems there. Magnets look okay. It doesn't feel like it's going to move, so I think the problem's probably in here, but we'll have a look in the pump anyway. No problem with the impeller. We haven't actually had the AC on for quite a while, so it could just be that that's caused a problem with the motor, seized it up. So that's the drive coming off here. It's just a cover up for the drive, and this is the magnetic coupling. Well, although it was stuck, I just moved it a little bit and it came free, so there must have just been a little bit of corrosion in between the actual armature and the motor. So I'm pretty sure that's actually all it was. There is very little space in there, so you get anything in there, even a little bit of rust, it just stops. I'm going to try and get some oil into the bearings. As you can see, there's a bearing right in the side of there, that rusty thing in there, and just generally give it a bit of clean up. It's not really a serviceable unit, and they're quite expensive. I think this was about $250. Where are we going today?
Going round to Dickerson Bay.
Which has what facility?
Oh, it's got a tiki bar on a pontoon, sort of on a floating pontoon type thing off the beach.
And what weather conditions we can expect today?
We've got a nice breeze. We've got 12, 13 knots at the moment.
So the bay outside Jolly Harbour is quite shallow, 14 to 8 feet is the anchorage areas, but it's got a good hold. The sand is very good holding. It's quite a dense sand. It took a bit of pulling to get the anchor up. We're off on our travels today, swapping islands. We're going from Antigua to Barbuda into a little bay on the southwest corner. It's called Coco Bay. Poor old compass is looking a bit sad at the moment. It's been gradually losing fluid from the time we crossed the Atlantic, and we've been trying to find some mineral oil. Mary's found some the other day, so we'll have to investigate how we can fill this up again. So we have a nasty squall up to windward of us. I don't know whether we're going to miss it or not, but we've reefed sails, haven't we, Mary?
Yep.
Reefed sails, and we're just prepared for it. We also have to take our cockpit cushions up. So yeah, definitely raining that. And there's also a wee yacht up there to the right of it. It's heading into it. I think we're going to get a little damp here. There you can see the dark line on the water here where the cloud's covering everything. There's the rain. So the clouds and the rain have gone, so we're back to champagne sailing. This is leaving Antigua. Been there over a week. Been up to Barbuda, but the weather wasn't great, or the swell conditions weren't very good there. So we went back to Jolly Harbour and had a couple of days there. So, where are we going today?
Nevis.
Nevis. Bit rocky rolly today.
Yeah, every seventh one gets us.
Why are you hiding behind the binnacle?
Because I ain't got a top on.
Gonna be right in a few minutes. This storm's definitely full of lots of rain in there.
Rain.
Wet rain. A couple of little dangly bits that might turn into water spouts. Hard to tell. Knots with just the journey out, and that's reefed halfway. Oh, we're going to the museum. I think it might have a Scottish connection here. Alexander Hamilton, Nevis Island. I think it could well do. We'll see.
Hope you enjoyed our trip around Antigua, Nelsons Island, steeped in history.
Quite a mixture on the island of super yachts, classic yachts, and of course all the maritime history that are there.
We were able to see a lot of the island. We did an interior taxi trip, and then we also sailed around the island. I like Jolly Harbour. and also the Tot of Rum in Nelsons Dockyard.
Probably my favourites were Green Island, we had a lovely meal there, but the exit channel from there was, yes, a little bit of a close shave for us. Nelsons Dockyard was great, its history and all the super and classic yachts that are moored there. So until the next time,
Fair winds,
and following seas.
Bye.
Bye.